I hate this place so much.
All I can say is, fuck Dr. Kingsley.
Dr. Kingsley?
That goofy, ripoff. Can go suck a lemon. Also, after stream, I will put it back on because apparently there's keys in the red affies now, and I need to find them.
Yes, do that.
Hmm?
Find those keys in our red Avies.
Anywho.
I am still processing the way the last D&D game ended.
I was tearing up, man. That, oh my god. Hi everyone, welcome back to the cave.
Hello.
Vegas Bear here as always with Makeamon and Taro.
Hello!
I died.
And yes, Taro has died and has become a ghost.
Now that just makes another one for the collection that's been haunting me for the last 30 years.
I want to ask, but at the same time,
Don't.
I don't know if I want to know.
I mean,
Hey,
most
me
of the
too.
ghosts are mine, but still.
Right, cat, 9 lives. Okay, we're playing Doom today.
Meanwhile, in Doom Universe,
Demons continue to die.
I wish Doom Guy was in the horror map I was just playing. Holy hell.
I'll just say, the cover art for Doom 2 was incredibly metal.
Yep.
It's so fitting.
Alright. We still have...
And I say this while watching the stream via YouTube on my Xbox because, I can see nothing over here.
Damn it! Alright, so, last time on Doom 2, we had freed the spaceport and allowed the last of the human race to escape. And we were ready for death until we got a message saying that the source of the demonic invasion is not that far from where we were.
So, if we could just take it out, humanity can come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like it's not going to be that simple?
Because it never is.
You quacked.
Oh, hey, a duck! That is one demonic duck.
Are you even playing Repo right now?
The hell's a repo? I'm half kidding. I've never played the game and I'm only vaguely aware of it.
Basically, there's a duck in the game that if you pick it up, it will kill you. Like, one-shot you.
Honestly, what I had in mind was more the spectral duck from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The one that's invisible to everybody except for you, and continuously blows raspberries to basically make it sound like you, well, pass gas. To make you look crazy. I didn't do it, it was the duck! What duck?
I need you to understand that this is the most stand-like stand I have ever heard. Because not every stand is beneficial. Such as Cheap Trick. Its ability, its only ability is it sticks to your back and whispers at you until you go insane. And also, if you turn your back, if you show your back to anyone, Cheap Trick will rip itself off your back and then do these switches do anything? It'll rip itself off. Oh. It'll rip itself off of your back and attach to someone else, even if they already have a stand.
I look forward to seeing it try to get through Sound of Silence. Because, legit, if all it has to do is just get within the small city range of that freaking stand, or sit as I jokingly call it, and Cheap Trick will just fizzle.
Cheap Trick will try to jump up onto your back and then just fall flat on its face and disappear.
I like to
Just
think,
straight up Thanos dust.
I like to think that Cheap Trick isn't technically active in the sense of it can be seen by other stand users until after someone sees the back.
You might be right because Rohan, I forgot his full name, but Rohan, the manga artist in Part 4, had encountered Cheap Trick and did not see it until it ripped itself off of the host's back.
Like, just imagine a person who's unfortunate to have Cheap Trick gets within range of Megamon's
Sound of Silence.
Yeah, sit. And the person turns to get the sweet release of not having to hear Cheap Trick anymore. Doesn't even matter how it's done. And Cheap Trick just goes back in, not wanting to stop existing. Like, just goes, yeah, I kind of want to continue existing, thank you. So I'm sticking with you for now.
So on the note of that duck from Billy and Mandy, my favorite iteration of the joke is just Billy's dad walks down the road, sees the duck just standing there, goes, "Oh hey, a duck!" Hard cut to him suddenly in jail. What the heck just happened? Hector Concarne is in the cell with him. I'm not even on this show anymore.
Ah, shit, I need keys. Well.
What was I gonna say? I forget. No. Oh, right. One last thing about that horror map I was on. So, there's this... So I mentioned the first monster and the second monster. The first one cries whenever you're near it. But like I said, it doesn't kill you, it just harms you.
Alright.
And now I'll be quiet.
Why?
Because I don't know what else to talk about.
Oh.
So if we're talking song names that can be used for stand names, I found that I remembered one that said, "I am terrified to see I'm terrified to see the stand that would be attached to this name."
What's the quote?
For one of the bands that I listened to growing up, Dokken, I present to you "Kiss of Death."
Well, going by that name.
I feel like it would be obvious.
On that same album that came from, we also have Mr. Scary.
Wait, I believe there is a stand called Scary Monsters.
Like, specifically, Mr. Scary. That's the name of the song.
I know, I'm just trying to remember what was Scary Monsters?
Hold on, let me Google.
I'm already Googling. Oh, it's it was a stand used by Dio, alternate universe Dio, in part 7 that allowed him to turn himself and others into dinosaurs.
What?
Yes.
Anyways, so, fun fact. The album is named for a song that isn't actually on the album.
Oh?
The album I got Kiss of Death and Mr. Scary from is called Back for the Attack. But the actual song by that title, by this very band, is not on this album. I just find it weird
Isn't that?
and mildly amusing.
I was about to say, isn't that kind of normal though?
I mean, hell if I know. I'm not really, super versed with the music industry, no. But, I just find it funny.
I found this song yesterday called Human Hunter, and basically what happened was, so everyone remembers the good How to Train Your Dragon movie, the first one, yeah?
Yeah.
One second.
I'd argue there were no straight-up bad How to Train Your Dragon movies, but the first one is still the best.
I'm talking about the live-action version, which is a bad one.
There's a live-action one?
From what I've heard, it's actually good. It's like the complete opposite of the Stitch movie.
That explains why Deva was screaming about it the other day.
Fair enough. But anyway, basically, that point in the movie when Stoic was telling Hiccup that he wasn't his son anymore, was the point where Hiccup just went, heck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. He didn't stop stop the destruction of Berg. He was the one who started it.
This is AU?
Yes. He and Toothless wiped Berg off the map, along with the army of dragons he saved from all the other villains from the movies.
Fucking hell.
Part of me wants to shout the brain dead joke of good timeline, but the rest of me is self-aware to know that's just stupid.
I'll be back in a bit. Foodle.
Alright.
Let's see, what other songs off that album could have made decent stand names? I've mentioned Kiss of Death, I've mentioned Mr. Scary. There was Prisoner. I can only imagine what that does. There was Dream Warriors. One of my favorites off the album. There was Heaven Sent, which, of all the names on the album, like, that one probably would produce the most interesting stand.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily a beneficial one, but interesting. There was Standing in the Shadows, another good one off that album. Anyways, let's see, where did we leave off yesterday with the Marvel talk?
I don't remember.
I remember discussing Silver Surfer at length.
Yeah. Joe, did you see the pictures I sent in the group chat before Red went on his rant?
Oh, the comic panels?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought they were neat.
I liked them. I liked the different perspectives. Like, Johnny's especially was one to think about.
That's apparently from a real comic book.
It was.
Yeah, where he thinks Peter is the luckiest guy in the world, not realizing how much his life fucking sucks.
And the thing is, the things he envies about Peter are actual qualities that Peter does have in his life. Like, it's not so much he idealizes the life he thinks Peter has. He just values what Peter actually does have. And likewise, Peter does the same with Johnny. Heck, Wolverine is another reference to a comic. I should tell you about that one.
Okay.
So there is a comic where we start these off with Wolverine calling in Spider-Man to help him on a mission, a stakeout at a bar, and Peter never really figures out what exactly he's there for, what Logan was waiting for, who was going to show up. He does end up breaking up a bar fight between Logan and some punks who more or less mouthed off to him. And as Pete's at the breaking point and basically snaps and starts chewing out Logan for all of his behavior, Logan tells him, "You don't gotta stick around anymore. It's midnight." When Peter finally asks what this was about, Logan tells him the job he was doing was just being there for Logan's birthday.
I remember that. Oh, I want to give Logan a hug, even if he would kill me for it.
Like, Peter asks him straight up, if you just wanted company for your birthday, what about the other X-Men? And Logan tells him he couldn't. They already know what he is, what he's like. But Peter, he's naive enough to believe that Logan can be better. And stubborn enough to try to make him that way.
Hence that line in the fan comic.
A good guy who's dumb enough to think that I am too. It's a great piece of characterization for both of them.
Hell yeah.
I love how it also kind of shows off the friendly neighborhood side of Spider-Man by putting him in such a small, low-stakes story.
Oh yeah, it is a low-stakes story, isn't it? Because there's no
there's no big bad to There's no supervillain to stop, no world-ending event to worry about.
Aunt May's not dying.
For the umpteenth time this month. What made me sad was the Doctor Strange panel, because I know what that's referencing to.
Oh.
See, there's a bunch of moments that could describe, but the one that popped into my head was the deal with Mephisto.
Right.
But then, to bring us back up out of the heartache moments there, we have the Hulk, who calls him a friend.
Which I remember a comic where Spider-Man's around, and I think Iron Man, Hulk, obviously, and Hercules. And Hulk is letting Spider-Man hang off his arm. And I believe when Hercules asks Spider-Man what he is, Hulk just says, friend.
What makes it even better is that in the aftermath of everybody's memories of Peter's identity being erased, there is eventually a moment where Pete and Bruce have a kind of heart-to-heart, as Bruce finally just lets himself go and turns into the Hulk before leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hulk remembers who Peter is.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
The one person to evade the mind wipe.
I remember that.
And in spite of everything, he still considers Peter a friend for the exact reason of why they're there in the first place. Peter refusing to let Bruce, slip into the Hulk alone. Because they do kind of treat it in the moment like Bruce Banner's persona dying.
I keep going around in circles.
And then there's the second batch of folks, which I gotta say, each and every one of the Fantastic Four comments here has just made me smile. A loudmouth like Johnny, a genius like Stretch, and compassionate like Susan. And what's Reed think? One of the most brilliant minds of our generation, who I'm happy to consider a part of my family.
Hell yeah.
And then, of course, there's Iceman calling Spidey one of his amazing friends. Iron Man is perfectly a character saying in over his head, because that has been a frequent attitude Iron Man incarnations have taken with Spidey incarnations.
I also like this version of Daredevil saying the best of us, because that's what Daredevil believes.
Yep.
Matt Murdock in the main 616 universe has said that. And there's Luke Cage saying, trustworthy man who I can count on every day of the week. Which I like. I like that.
And then there's Deadpool. The broke-ass bitch owes me $5.
And then there's Rogue, who... So this... The person that made these comics has stated that this is in their... This is in their universe. Peter and Rogue had a one-time thing. Or short-lived thing, at least.
A short-lived, amazing fantasy, which... You ain't slick! I caught the name of the comic that debuted Spider-Man in the first place!
And the fact that she's blushing and biting her lip, damn, Peter, what'd you do to her?
Considering the ridiculous love life that Peter Parker has had in most of his incarnations, dude's got some pull.
I say, damn, what did you do to her? And my first thought was, He treated her like a person instead of a mutant.
And he would.
He would.
Like, Pete's been very, very good about that. It's treating people, regardless of their species, as people. This includes mutants, metahumans, aliens, robots, godly entities, the Beyonder, who not only thinks he's a little shit, but also is himself a little shit.
The Beyonder thinks that you're a shit! One of my favorite lines from Super Best Friends Play, like, of all time.
Yep. I gotta say though, for the whole like homebrew universe thing, I love the comic. I love the design choices for a bunch of them. First off, Hulk's eyes are a really cool detail. The black sclera with the glowing green irises, I love that choice. It's expressive and menacing.
I like Deadpool.
And also...
Oh.
You first.
I was just gonna say, I like Deadpool's because he has, like, on his mask is a stitched up mouth.
Yes. A sneaky little joking reference to the worst iteration of Deadpool to ever exist.
But also, it's a double reference because people are always telling Wade to shut the fuck up.
Including the movie where they actually stitched his mouth shut. I see a good amount of Ultimate Universe inspiration for Iceman there. Rogue's design is just straight up X-Men evolution.
The best Rogue design, fight me.
I mean, why? You're right.
Like, I will not lie. I had a crush on Rogue when I was younger watching X-Men Evolution.
And I guarantee you were just one of thousands. Now, I think my favorite one of all the designs, and it's a ridiculously simple reason, but hear me out. My favorite of all the designs is Iron Man. Simply because of the use of the silver instead of the gold. Because the Silver Centurion suit has always been my favorite design for the character.
Fair enough. That is a good suit. Like, there are a few Iron Man suits that I know of where people will just straight up cheer for, like the Silver Centurion.
Like, say what you will about the movie Iron Man 2, but the fact that the briefcase suit was a visual reference to the Silver Centurion armor, that made me very happy.
Not only that, but it was the actual armor did appear in Iron Man 3. Among the cavalcade of other suits.
I haven't watched Iron Man 3, so I wouldn't know.
You know what we should do? And I'm already regretting bringing this up. Marvel Marathon. or rather,
Bro,
MCU marathon.
are you trying to kill us?
I mean, we're not gonna watch it all in one night.
I know we're not. We physically couldn't. But, like, eventually people will get fed up with it.
Maybe. I mean, like, the way I see it, we do phase 1, right? We watch everything leading up to Avengers. We take a break, and then we watch phase 2, take a break. Phase 3, take a break.
And by the time we think we're caught up, they'll be on phase 12.
By the time we catch up, they'll finally release the Blade movie. What were you saying, Tara?
What I miss?
Discussion of Marvel movies
Yes.
and the characters therein.
It started off with us talking about Spider-Man because of a comic I found. In fact, I will put it in the voice chat.
While we're, waiting on that, I do have another Iron Man suit that I actually am pretty fond of. Even if I don't really think about it as often as I probably should. The original Ultimate Universe Iron Man suit looked pretty good.
Is that the one that was more round? Instead of...
It actually got an action figure recently. That particular suit.
Huh. I'm trapped. Oh. Because the level is called Gotcha.
Hey, come on, am I going to have to play it, or will you?
You do it. I'm not exactly in a position to play it right now. I know they've made some merch of my favorite suit. I just gotta find it eventually. Would you like to see what version of Iron Man that suit is, Carl?
Sure. Oh.
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
Bear, you already know what suit I'm talking about. First off, here's that Ultimate Iron Man suit I mentioned.
Ooh.
It feels so much more Japanese mecha inspired, and I love it for that. As for my favorite Iron Man suit of all time, I love the Silver Centurion's look. What can I say? Red and silver just go together really well.
Okay, so there's no getting out of this.
What?
There's no getting out of this trap.
Oh.
That sucks.
We got Cyber Demon and Spider Mastermind. The two major bosses of the first game.
The Silver Centurion armor, otherwise known as Model 8, has some pretty interesting features. Apparently, solar power is listed on the armor features, so I assume it can just recharge via solar energy. Integrated microcircuitry, repulsors, repulsion fields, electromagnetic sensors, and a 6-second force field.
Wait, 6-second force field.
Yeah, a special force field that only lasts about 6 seconds.
Interesting.
I'm looking through it now. Let's see here. Capabilities. We've got superhuman strength, as is standard with most Iron Man armors. The jet boots. The repulsors. Which are apparently enhanced compared to standard repulsors. Or at least these models were enhanced at some point. The Unibeam, which was also enhanced. The Unibeam can be used as an actual beam attack or as a spotlight. Apparently, its original use was as a searchlight.
Huh.
powerful searchlight capable of projecting beams in virtually every light spectrum. Also used as a powerful weapon that can destroy anything in its path. It fires a boosted form of mono beam with some energy backing it up. This armor has sonic emitters, including a voice distortion system to help protect Stark's identity. It could also be used to duplicate sounds. A Freon beam?
Also, wait a minute. Why protect his identity? He's a public figure.
I don't think he was at this point in the comics.
Fair.
For a while, unlike the MCU, for a while, he operated with a secret identity, claiming that Iron Man was, in fact, his bodyguard.
I remember that, actually.
Either way, the Freon beam, built into one of the fingers on the armor's hands, mainly used for fire extinguishing, but can be used in clashing. So apparently this thing just has a freeze rate. Pulse discharge. Other weapons include heat lances, cutting lasers, electric shocks, whatever the hell variator rays are, and a tractor beam.
Ooh.
For defensive systems, we have an array of miniature electromagnetic generators that allowed him to manipulate magnetic fields for a variety of effects, including jamming, reverse magnetism, and just... oh yeah, that aforementioned force field. Power systems included a particle beam generator. Iron Man's armor was powered by an arc-powered particle beam generator built into the chest plate. He could recharge these batteries by plugging his chest plate into any electrical source. It was also more efficient and powerful in the use of battery power than previous armors. Power pods assisted in power usage. The life support system was also upgraded. The pacemaker was no longer needed after successful heart surgery. Alright, I forgot for a while he needed that.
Yeah, because he had an arc reactor in his chest.
The life support equipment was considerably enhanced. Recycled air, water, and nutrients could last an indefinite amount of time. Secondary systems included suction cups in the gauntlets.
Please say roller skates, please say roller skates, please say roller skates.
Detachable suction cups in the gauntlets that allowed them to adhere to smooth surfaces. Finger saws. Retractable cutting devices capable of cutting through wood and soft metals. Impact control switch used to brace the armor. Various gadgets included diamond edge digging tools, a loudspeaker, jet stream discs, Freon tablets, tear gas bombs, even a sledgehammer for use against the Hulk. Radar and a fluoroscope were used as sensors. Sensors were upgraded with a full band transceiver, infrared, and a life detector that was keyed to several important personnel. In addition to radar, the armor also had sonar and a magnetic repeller. I can talk, damn it! I can speak! I will not trip over my words! And an energy detector. Radio communication. It fit inside that stupid suitcase. ECM jamming, hologram emitters, finger lasers, negator packs, Individual armor parts could stored in a small emergency electrical charge. There have been variants. Some depict a triangular unibeam, while others have it more as a trapezoid. I do not see anything in regards to roller skates.
Damn it!
Well, I'm sure there's something out there.
Like, ever since that joke was brought up in Armored Adventures, I was just like, please let this be a real thing.
Let's see. 616 Iron Man armors have the classics, ranging from models 1 to 35. Sorry, classics from models 1 to 30, Argonauts 31 to 35, and New Age 36 to 52.
Damn.
There's some Iron Man armors from Earth 1610, which I believe was the original Ultimate Universe. Other armors: 2020 armor, Ultimate armor, Iron Lord, Iron Maniac, and House of M. In the New Age stuff, not only do we have 36 through 52, but we also have Mark 1616, Mark 0, Prison Escape Armor, and Uru Armor. I guess we'll start with Mark 1616.
The hell is an Uru?
The metal that Thor's hammer is made of.
Oh.
Mark 1616 was made by Tony for use by Pepper to keep her safe in case of emergency. Come on, show me that Mark 0. Oh. Mark 0 looks like the Mark 1 armor. Model 64, it's officially numbered as, but this thing looks like the original armor that Tony used in the comics before the Iron Man suit we're all familiar with came along. The all-silver one.
Interesting.
Oh, and I love the history described for this one. The Iron Man armor Mark Zero, also known simply as the Mark Zero, was an armor that appeared in the Iron Man comics of the Marvel Comics universe, published and created by, you guessed it, Marvel Comics. This armor was created by Tony Stark out of desperation to defeat Norman Osborn and his Iron Patriot armor. We are in Dark Avengers territory right now, my friends. That time Norman Osborn almost successfully took over the world. For Tony to return to his superhero identity as Iron Man, he needed an armor to rebel against Osborn, and this armor was all he had left. It was made out of scrap materials and bears a similar resemblance to the first exact armor he had ever created. Although it had enough power to do a few things, it was no match against Osborn's armor, and Tony's armor lost. So, yeah, he basically recreated his first ever suit of armor with a box of scraps, possibly in a cave!
Oh my god. Okay, so, oh boy. I know where the exit is.
That oh boy tells me this is not going to be fun.
Remember when we got trapped?
Oh no, not again.
Yes, again.
Let's diffuse some of this with some information on the Uru armor, shall we? Otherwise known as the Fear Itself armor from the comic of the same name.
Oh, there we go.
This suit was among many weapons created by Tony Stark out of the Asgardian metal.
Also, hi, Webb. Sorry.
This armor's design was based off the Asgardian weapon called the Destroyer. For anybody who knows their Thor comics, that is probably not a good thing.
I also remember it from the MCU.
While Tony Stark designed the 8 weapons of the mighty, he apparently did not design this armor per se. It appeared he simply plunged himself, armored up, into a vat of molten Uru, which was then infused with the divine will of Odin. He emerged with the new armor complete and finished. In appearance, it strongly resembles the Destroyer, the practically invincible mystical armor created by Odin. Notes, in spite of considerable build-up, the armor did not get a single battle scene in the finale of the story it featured in. Weapons, repulsors, Unibeam, time travel, and time manipulation. Possibly. I love that it has the little possibly in parentheses.
Alright.
Because we never saw this armor actually active, so we don't know what it can do.
You're at the corrupt heart of the city, surrounded by the corpses of your enemies. You see no way to destroy the creature's entryway on this side, so you clench your teeth and plunge through it. There must be a way to close it on the other side. What do you care if you've got to go through hell to get to it?
You're good.
About to lose my crap.
What?
I'm about to lose my crap.
Are you good? Oh shit! Oh! Yeah?
I'm searching for the Kiesner red AVBs. So far I found Kiesner I, but with red. I searched his real name. That got me nothing. Then I searched just his nickname, Red. That still got me nothing. If I'm being blunt about this, I'm actually about to smack someone.
I've moved on to another suit that Tony created for another person. This time, the Iron Spider armor. One of the best looking Spider-Man costumes we've ever had. I also only half-jokingly call this the Privacy Invasion costume. You see, this suit was made for Peter to use while he was allied with his Tony Stark during the early days of the Civil War event. But let's just say Tony's trust has limits. Despite it having all this neat tech that would have been super useful for Peter, like the costume basically having its own chameleon settings so it could look like any suit that Peter's ever worn. In case he wanted people to believe he wasn't wearing the Tony Stark built suit, or if he just wanted to change of pace. The 3 mechanical spider limbs, called Waldos, yes, seriously, that were, as Tony himself described, pretty fragile, so use them sparingly in combat. They also could open up at the ends and deploy cameras.
Oh my god.
And then, well, there's also the gliding web membrane things that sometimes Spidey costumes have and sometimes they don't. Now, why do I call this the Privacy Invasion costume? It was gathering battle data based on how Peter used it. It studied his every move, his strategies, his powers. This was how Stark learned about the spider sense. And how to counter it. It also had a tracking device built in.
That does not surprise me. So I had to backtrack and I forgot to redo the quick load. So we went back farther than I intended. So now I am redoing Gotcha from the point I realized what we had to do.
I'm gonna go for now.
Alright. Bye, Taro.
See ya.
See you later, bud.
Alright. Now then. Quick save. Save here. Let's fucking go. Yeehaw, chuckle fucks.
Larry, do you hear boss music? It's Doom now. Everything is boss music. Oh yeah, those skeleton chuckle fucks with the weird cannon assembly things.
The Revenants.
I hate them so much.
Okay, what the hell is going on here?
Well, we heard a bunch of my favorite Iron Man suits. What about you?
Oh boy. Let's see. Personally, I like the suits where really I like the suits that are specifically designed for certain situations. It gives him a bit of an action figure feel.
Oh, hello, 90s cartoon. What did you get here?
Yeah.
With his like, okay, so especially in the second season and onward of the Iron Man cartoon at the time, he had this system where he could input a voice command, switch to such and such armor, and his armor would like simultaneously teleport the new suit onto him while it teleports the current suit off. He could just change suits out of the field on the fly.
Interesting.
He had armors built for underwater use, volcano use, space use. I'm certain there were others that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head.
I do like the spacesuit one, at least the one that I'm familiar with, because it's white and shiny.
We are simple folk, very simple creatures. We like shiny objects.
Yep. I do not understand this puzzle.
Okay, so the spacesuit was definitely neat. Any others you care to mention?
Silver Centaurian, obviously.
Like, that one is just so 80s and I love it.
I really like the Mark 1.
Yes. comic Mark 1 or movie Mark 1?
Movie Mark 1.
Yeah, that was my favorite one out of the first movie, too. Like, I loved the fact that it was practical effects, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And because this was before he figured out repulsor tech, more or less, like, for better or worse, this one used fucking flamethrowers. The comic Mark 1 is very simple, and that's part of why I like it. You could definitely see the inspiration that turned it into the MCU's Mark 1 Iron Man. But, like, that is one thing that like, it feels very 60s sci-fi. Which, that definitely, that certainly is a vibe of its own, I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, there's something to be said for just the beauty of simplicity. Since we brought up the MCU, favorite MCU armor? Or is that still the Mark 1?
Hold on, let me bring up the list. Oh, one other thing I like about the Mark 1 is how it was basically used. What was left of it was used to make the Ironmonger.
Yeah. You can definitely see the resemblance just in the helmets alone.
Mm-hmm. The Mark 5, which is also the suitcase suit, also known as the football, I like, if only because of the neat little gimmick it has with the suitcase, and also just being called football.
I also like that suit largely because of its resemblance to the Silver Centurion suit before that suit actually, existed in the MCU.
see. I'm in the original Iron Legion territory now.
So, while you're looking through there, I will just say, I think I found the one Spider-Man that is treated even worse than Peter Parker in the 616 universe.
Oh, damn.
And it's also Peter Parker. Say hello, Ben Reilly.
Oh, God.
Imagine all of the crazed obsession with making Peter Parker suffer being heaped onto Ben Reilly here, while also not even having the common decency to write his character consistently. Ben Reilly got character assassinated twice. I don't know how one manages that, but this poor guy got character assassinated more than once. How do they character assassinate the poor guy? Simple. They keep turning him into a villain. Which sucks because, one, I actually thought the angle of him having to piece together his own life because of his origins was a neat angle. And two, the sensational Spider-Man suit is arguably the best the classic red and blue has ever looked. Fight me. I put that particular suit in the chat here. This is the first time that Ben Reilly had assumed the mantle of Spider-Man. You want to see what the costume looked like the second time he did that?
Yes.
Here it is. The suit isn't horrible, but it's got a bunch of tiny things that bug me. First off, what the heck is with those chips in the boots? It's like you didn't pull the zipper up all the way. What the hell? Second off, the weird silver pads on the wrists. Are you trying to emulate the white squares from the black suit? Because you're doing it wrong.
Alright, I didn't go through all the armors, but I found the ones that I like the most.
Fair enough. Fire away.
The Heartbreaker.
Oh yeah, that is a gorgeous suit.
Hot Rod.
I see where it gets its name from. I imagine this one's built for speed.
Maybe? I don't remember.
I mean, with a name like that and a paint scheme like this, it's gotta be something sporty.
This one is No. I want to send this.
While you're sending that, I will bring up my last nitpick with the second Ben Reilly Spider-Man costume. The fact that the spider is off-center.
Striker.
Those be some pile driver arms, those are some devastating punches.
Yep.
It looks like the suit was designed for construction. Like, it does have that vibe.
So the Hot Rod armor had nothing special going for it. It was just a toned down version of the War Machine armor.
Okay, fair enough. That explains why it looks like War Machine is having an identity crisis. Like, the paint scheme looks good, don't get me wrong. But now I'm starting to see the War Machine elements in the armor.
Mm-hmm. And then... Red Snapper.
Look at those claws, though. What the hell? What's this guy's deal?
Hold on. Let me re-find his armor. Ah, there it is. Alright.
The Red Snapper armor was made to save people during natural disasters. For example, rescuing victims trapped during an earthquake. The Red Snapper armor also had extendable and retractable claws, which are very useful in an urgent crisis.
Fair.
There's some more, but I'll get to those later. Also, evidently, the rescue armor is counted as an Iron Man armor in the MCU.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what number it is because it's Roman numerals and... Hold on. Let's see. That one is 85, so... It's XLIX.
$49.
Okay. That makes it the Mark 49. Alright, that's enough of that. I need to figure out how... Gotta get through this freaking level. Wait a minute, what?
Oh boy. So I looked up the Marvel Databases page on Ben Reilly, and it mentions the many times he's died. You want to hear a few of them?
Sure, why
I
not?
think that's ridiculous. Like, even for a comic book character, this gets ridiculous. Death number 1. Impaled by Green Goblin, sacrificing himself to save Peter Parker, later resurrected by Miles Warren. Repeatedly murdered and then resurrected only to be murdered again by Miles Warren. Killed by Kane Parker, resurrected by Abigail Mercury. Consumed by Genix, resurrected by Superior Spider-Man. He's currently alive in the Earth 616 universe somewhere with the alias of Chasm.
I do remember that.
Yeah. You begin to see why I say the only person to suffer worse than Peter Parker in the Marvel Comics universe here is Peter Parker.
Oh, I'm fucking stupid. I could just made the thing lower itself. Oh. I wasted so much time!
Yeah, but I also distracted you for a little bit with the Iron Man suit thing and got you to relax a little.
That's true.
Sometimes all it takes is just walking away for a moment.
Funny that this level is called Nirvana.
Occupation is listed as follows. Adventurer, former king of Limbo, security guard, vigilante, CEO, criminal, scientist, waiter, short order cook, genetic research assistant, bartender, janitor, mechanic, photographer, teacher, miscellaneous work for hire.
Holy shit.
I did say one of the interesting parts of Ben Reilly is just him trying to build a life from basically nothing. I will say though, there's a reason that ideally my very specific canon for Spider-Man tends to end with the ending of the Clone Saga and moving on into the MC2 universe with Spider-Girl.
Guess not a lot of good shit comes after.
Well, that is a difficult question to answer there, because like yes and no.
Yeah, I did say not a lot. So like I know there were some good things that came about.
Because I mean, yes, we leave Ben Reilly dead in this version of events, but better just leave him to rest than repeatedly, consistently character assassinating him. We also have Aunt May staying dead after she died in the comics. No, Norman Osborn hired an actress, gave her plastic surgery, and basically hired her to pretend to be Aunt May and die in Peter's house.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, that was the retcon they pulled. One of the most heartbreaking deaths in comics. Retconned to what I just described.
This is why I don't read Marvel comics.
I mean, unless it's
Technically speaking, Norman Osborn wasn't even supposed to come back at this point either. That was another rule broken.
the catacombs.
Okay, here's an interesting little trivia note in the Marvel database here. You know how Ben Reilly dyed his hair blonde in order to differentiate himself from Peter? That way they don't look identical and people don't get confused.
Yeah.
It almost didn't fool Jameson.
I mean, he can be pretty clever when he wants to be.
Plus, he's worked with Peter for so long now, even if you change the hair color and style, you've still got Peter's face!
I know that face anywhere! I've yelled at it enough times to know it anywhere!
I've fired it plenty of times, too!
Wait, what do you mean I'm not a good boss?
So you know how it's just a thing for Peter to have relationship issues?
Yeah.
Well, Benji over here has that problem too.
Lovely! I'm starting to think this shit is genetic.
It very well might be. If I find out Kane has that same problem too, it's just straight up confirmed at that point.
You know what you have to do with the MDC2 now, right?
Yes, unfortunately. The sad thing is, I was gonna do that with Benji and Mayday anyway. Their own respective love lives being in a constant state of turmoil. Like, even without the joke of it being genetic. But, like, here's what I mean when I say it applies to Ben Reilly too. So, when he first starts taking up the mantle of Spider-Man so Peter can, you know, retire and live his life with his newly pulling together family. Remember, at this point, baby Mayday is still on the way.
Right.
Well, Ben Reilly here starts kind of piecing a life together. He takes a job as a barista at a local coffee place and starts dating a woman by the name of Jessica Carradine, one of the local university students.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop right here and ask you an important question. Does the name Carradine sound familiar at all?
Kind of.
It should, if you know your Spider-Man lore. Ben Reilly, Ben here will eventually break things off with her when it's revealed who her father is. The burglar who killed Uncle Ben.
Oh my god! I'm gonna be real, I didn't know his name.
Dennis Carradine, I believe, was the name.
I didn't even know he had a name.
Oh, he does.
Holy crap. That's like Batman falling in love with Joe Chill's daughter.
Well, a clone of Bruce, but still.
Do you know what I mean? Did this level just say barrel? Was this level just called Barrels of Fun?
So, I should point out, and okay, so here's another fun fact about Ben over here. This should tell you when that genetic sample was taken. First off, the original clone was back in, like, still around the 60s, 70s-ish, before the Secret Wars.
Oh.
Which means that it was taken, that sample was taken before the black suit. Now, if you know anything about how the black suit works and its relationship to Peter, you know that because he spent so long wearing it, his spider sense does not register the symbiote as a threat. Peter's spider sense considers the symbiote a part of him. And basically all of Venom's offspring have inherited that invisibility to the spider sense.
Yeah.
But because Ben Reilly was cloned from a point in Peter's life before the symbiote, Venom and its offspring no longer have that invisibility to the spider sense. They can hide from Peter, but not Ben.
That sounds incredibly useful.
It was. When Ben Reilly first fought Venom, he thoroughly kicked the guy's ass. How thoroughly? Well, old Benji over here decided to test out his new impact webbing. Fired it down Venom's throat, and when the little whole impact webbing, like, capsule pod things burst and the webbing basically expanded, it forced the symbiote off of Eddie Brock. Ben Reilly pulls no punches when it comes to symbiotes. Metaphorically speaking. Because, let's face it, he's still, on some level, Peter Parker, and if there's anything we know about Pete, it's that even with some of his stronger supervillains, he still pulls his punches. We saw what happened when someone with Peter's level of strength stopped holding back against the Rhino. Right? Was it Rhino that got his jaw punched off?
I think.
It was either him or Scorpion. One of the two. I don't know if that whole advantage against symbiotes will hold up with the Carnage symbiote after bonding with Rascal for a little while. Because Spider Carnage was a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was.
I love the fact that at some point, Daredevil just shows up, demanding to know who this new Spider-Man is, because he was just talking with Peter a few minutes ago. He knows this isn't Pete. So, he and Ben Reilly just discussed Ben's backstory over chili dogs.
I like that. The chasm. It's just a shotgun. Fuck that.
Oh right, I almost forgot that Ben Reilly made a second, very much inferior version of the Scarlet Spider suit. The second Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider costume. What the hell am I even looking at?
I like the hood. I don't like that you can kind of see the mouth. That's weird.
Right?
I'm okay with most of that design except for the mouth.
It's weird.
It's very weird.
Like, honestly, I think Ben Reilly's costume design peaked with Sensational Spider-Man. Is it sad that both of his best costumes were from the 90s?
A little bit.
He did kind of take over as the Jackal for a little while. And the outfit in question was just him wearing a red suit and tie, complete with a black jackal mask. Like a Nubian jackal, like straight up canine looking helmet.
Canine looking motherfucker.
After he eventually got redeemed from that, he moved to Las Vegas for a little while and took up the Scarlet Spider mantle again.
Nice.
With the suit I just showed you.
Well, that's nice.
Before switching back to the 90s Scarlet Spider costume at some point. He'd eventually run afoul of the Superior Spider-Man.
Oh yes, we talked about that one in length.
And then he'd eventually join the Beyond Corporation.
The Beyonder thinks that you're a shit.
The Beyonder is also a shit!
I think it'd be funny to make you fight the Juggernaut. I love Madam Web, don't get me wrong, but they're the super best friends when they were talking about that. It's funny as shit.
I mean, let's be honest here. Madam Web was a magnificent troll.
Yep.
And I mean the original Madam Web, voiced by Stan Lee's wife. Well, I say the original. The furthest back I know of is the one from the 90s show. If there is a comic counterpart prior to that, I don't know about it.
Finally, no more edges. We do have a helmet.
And following his return home, Ben was approached by the Beyond Corporation to become Spider-Man once again as part of their initiative to privatize superheroes.
Something tells me that didn't go over too well.
They literally bought up the trademark to Spider-Man's name, so the only way to quote-unquote legally be Spider-Man was to do so under their, sponsorship.
Yeah. Get back here, you bitches.
I was just say, again, if you tweaked a couple of little things about the Spider-Man Beyond costume, you'd have a better costume. But the thing is, you know what you'd get if you tweaked those elements of the Spider-Man Beyond costume? You'd just get Sensational Spider-Man again! Really, take a moment to look at those costumes and tell me, just how different are they? They're eerily similar. It's like the Wish.com version of freaking Sensational Spidey.
Oh, I hate this level. I hate this level more than any one person should. Damn it.
Oh, now I'm angry.
Oh, what happened?
You remember that period of time where, you remember when I first brought up Ben Reilly returning to the Spider-Man role because Peter had taken such a heavy dose of radiation that he was basically comatose?
Yeah.
Turns out the Beyond Corporation secretly arranged for this to happen.
Motherfuckers.
Ben eventually reached out to Peter, who was ill-disposed to him not taking up the mantle without asking. Beyond secretly had their own plans for Ben's predecessor, and they arranged for a fight between the two Spider-Men and the UFOs, which resulted in Peter being hospitalized due to acute radiation poisoning. Before Peter fell into a coma, Ben received his blessing to be Spider-Man. Gee, isn't that convenient? During Ben's subsequent period as Spider-Man, he confronted Morbius the Living Vampire and Kraven the Hunter, among others. One of his earliest disagreements with Beyond came when the company intended for him to fight Miles Morales, another holder of the Spider-Man mantle, which was seen as unacceptable by Ben's superiors due to Beyond's holding of the trademark.
Oh, fuck off.
Ben also teamed up with the Black Cat to attend to unfinished business of the deceased Doctor Strange, which ended with her warming up to Ben in his role as Peter's replacement. Okay, so far he's not ruined as a character. He's trying to do good. Around this time, Ben had a brush with the law after New York City's mayor, Wilson Fisk, outlawed vigilantism as part of a vendetta against Daredevil.
I cannot wait to hear how that bit him in the ass.
Ben was one of the many superheroes arrested by the government-enforced Thunderbolt units, but he was quickly rescued from police custody by the Thing and the Human Torch. Fisk's son, the Rose, set his sights on Spider-Man and used a kidnapped Marcus to bait him, but ended up being defeated. Ben's trust in Beyond was subsequently shattered after Dr. Octopus targeted the company for their use of his technology. After being defeated by Ben on behalf of Beyond, Octavius entrusted him with a hard drive containing the company's secrets, as well as the revelation that Ben's employers had picked him because they saw him as psychologically compromised and easy to manipulate. As for the Wilson Fisk thing, I'll have to look into that. All you need to know is that after learning the company's secrets and attempting to confront his superiors, he was forced into a mind-altering, memory-erasing machine, which scrubbed some of his most formative memories, which he had gotten from Peter, and basically turned him into a blank slate. Alright, Fisk, what the hell did you do? There, Fisk, here we are. Fisk found himself among those trapped in Manhattan when Hydra rose to power and used the supervillain Blackout to cast the Dark Force Dome, which sealed the island off from the rest of the country. Fisk used his resources to help the innocent during this time, solely so people would hold him in high regard once the crisis was over.
Of course.
You know what's funny? Fisk pulled the same bullshit in Spider-Man and Web of Shadows when the symbiote invasion was going on. In fact, there is one specific line of dialogue from him I remember and can quote when Peter calls it out. You are full of it. Really, really full. Everyone remembers you're a criminal. People love a story of redemption, boy. Maybe I'll run for man. Taking advantage of his new status, Fisk ran for mayor as an independent. While Fisk's natural charm earned him substantial support, he won by fixing the vote.
Of course.
As part of his platform, Fisk promised to attack the vigilantes of the city, from the Punisher to even the likes of Spider-Man or Luke Cage.
Okay, hold on. Why Luke, though? Luke does good for the community.
I think he was just an example that was, like, spouted off.
Like, if
Like, you could have mentioned anybody.
If any of these voters had half a brain, they would immediately realize, wait a minute, this ain't right.
Dude, you just listed the problem with that mindset
Yeah, I know.
by just bringing it up.
Yeah, I realized.
Voters having half a brain is already a difficult enough idea to comprehend. But more so, voters in the Marvel universe are even more brain dead. These are the people who voted J. Jonah Jameson into office as mayor.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah. And Jonah himself claims it was arguably the downfall of his life. After his term ended, he had nothing.
Self-reflection from J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah, it happened.
We sure he's not a Skrull?
Honestly, would it be any big loss if he was?
I mean, no, not really.
Fisk's longtime nemesis Daredevil was determined to bring him down. In his guise as Matt Murdock, he agreed to become Fisk's deputy mayor, hoping to use the position against Fisk. When Fisk was about to attend a meeting with various crime bosses, Daredevil and many of his fellow heroes planned to crash the meeting and capture Fisk red-handed. However, Wilson turned the tables on the heroes and had them arrested instead, including Daredevil. Fisk didn't get to enjoy his success as members of the Hand suddenly appeared and attacked him, leaving him in a coma.
Oh no, if only there had been superheroes to stop that.
Like, even then, keeping in mind, Fisk is supposed to be peak human levels of strength here. Yeah, we call him fat all the time because it's funny, but
That's
in
not,
reality, that's all muscle.
yeah, that's not fat, that's muscle. He can break you.
I am not entirely convinced he hasn't been a mutant or something all this time. Like, if they said, yeah, this is why he's so strong, people would throw fits, but there'd also be people who'd say, you know what, that makes sense. I wouldn't blame the people who threw fits for throwing them, though, because the idea that Fisk is so dangerous and he's just an ordinary human, like, that's kind of a large part of what made him so threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, this caused Daredevil, as Matt Murdock, to become the new mayor of New York City. Murdock used his resources both as Daredevil and mayor to protect the city, and the Hand was eventually defeated in great part due to the efforts of the street-level vigilantes. After Fisk recovered, he took the reins back, and Murdock decided to quit. However, he made Fisk promise to give up his crusade against vigilantism. After all, there were a bunch of vigilantes right there that could have saved you from the Hand. So, yeah, now you know how that had backfired horribly. karma basically just swooped right in.
I love that.
Oh, here we go. He took out the crusade against vigilantes again.
How many times we gotta teach you this lesson, old man?
One day, Fisk discovered evidence that he previously knew Daredevil's identity but had forgotten. Angered by this, he confronted the hero, but after just being taunted by Daredevil, Fisk decided to outlaw the vigilantes in New York and had his Thunderbolt units enforce the law. After several heroes were captured and imprisoned within the... I'm going to butcher this, aren't I? The Myrmidon, Luke Cage publicly spoke out against Fisk. The mayor then proceeded to cut off one of Purple Man's fingers to use it to grant his staff mind-controlling powers.
Oh no!
I have no idea who Purple Man here is, but that's just...
Okay, first of all, are you familiar with Jessica Jones?
On a very, very casual level.
So, she used to go to the same school as Peter. In fact, they were classmates. At one point, Jessica found out she had superpowers. Typical stuff. Superhuman strength, flight. That whole spiel.
She was one of the many holders of the Spider-Woman mantle, right?
No. At least I don't think so.
Or am I thinking of a different Jessica?
You might be thinking of a different Jessica.
One day, while she was patrolling New York and fighting crime, she came across a man whose skin was purple.
I'm just wondering what the hell the Infrankable Crunk is doing here.
Said man was a mutant with the ability to mind control anyone he talked to. Jessica essentially became his slave for years.
That is quick. And now I get the gravity of why, Fisk pulling this stunt is so bad.
It took Miss Marvel beating the absolute shit out of Jessica, at the time known as Jewel, as a superhero, to knock her out of the Purple Man's control. And even then, it traumatized her to the point where she stopped being a vigilante and instead became a private detective. She would later meet Luke Cage during one of her cases, fall in love, and have a little baby.
Well, at least she's got a better life now than she had.
Yep. But that trauma, everything she went through with the Purple Man, it's bad. The Netflix show tried to do it justice, but in that, it was only a few months. In the comics, it was years.
Ugh.
And keep in mind,
Anyways.
this is a very, Purple Purple Man is not a good person in any capacity. If he had control over Jessica, he would do anything. And I do mean anything.
Yeah, I gathered. Being joined by Dr. Octopus, Fisk began planning to amplify Purple Man's powers to force the citizens to re-elect him as mayor, since Cage had decided to run against Fisk. Considering the current mayor of New York in the comics, last I checked, is Cage, it's safe to assume Fisk loses.
Mm-hmm. Also, I cannot find the exit for the life of me.
Fisk was able to learn from Purple Man that his purple children were responsible for him forgetting Daredevil's identity, and sent the Thunderbolts after them.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the heroes found out that Fisk was using Purple Man to manipulate everything, but were defeated by Doc Ock, some of his alternate selves, and and apparently the Chameleon. I can only wonder what he's involved with here. 2 weeks later, Doc Ock released countless Octobots that enforced Fisk's laws and practically canceled all crime. Fisk then had his staff restore his memories and was able to remember Daredevil's identity as Matt Murdock. Most of the Purple Children were apprehended and brought to their father in order to increase his power for their plan. Fisk went to confront Murdock. However, he mistook his twin brother, Mike Murdock, for Matt, and proceeded to beat him to death. Unaware that he was being watched by Kirsten McDuffie, whoever that is.
I feel like I know that name.
I'll check it. Fisk was eventually confronted by the two Daredevils, Matt and Elektra.
Oh, yeah.
He fought the duo, but after Matt took his staff, Fisk hesitated, allowing Daredevil to subdue him. He then attempted to kill Fisk, but was stopped by Elektra, reasoning with him that Matt was no murderer. But Elektra's killed plenty of people, let her do it!
You're no murderer, Matt.
I, on the other hand...
Alright. I cannot for the life of me oh, wait, that's the wrong thing. I, for the life of me, cannot figure out where I am supposed to go. So, we're gonna have to call it here, because we're already past the 2-hour mark.
I apologize for taking up way too much of this again for stuff that is otherwise unrelated.
You're fine, because otherwise it'd just be me screaming. Wait a fucking second. Hold on. Wait a minute.
I think the Bears finally had an epiphany.
I looked at the map.
I am not sure what I'm looking at.
I didn't bring the map up. Or not the one that, not the one I found, at least.
So, yeah. Fisk was arrested, broken out by an illegitimate son. And, to everyone's surprise, Fisk chose to retire from a life of crime. Wilson decided to just live happily with his wife and let his son claim the title of Kingpin. Fisk arrived at Krakoa, claiming Krakoan citizenship by marriage to his wife, who is in fact a mutant.
Alright, I'm about to scream. I'm about to scream. So, we're done for today. I may just say screw it and skip this level, which I normally never do. But this is not fun.
Yeah.
So,
Like, how close were we even to the end of Doom 2 anyway?
let me check. Let's see. We're on the chasm. That's map 24. About 6 levels away.
Depends on if you think it's worth it to just skip to the next game.
No, I'm skipping to the next level.
We can't guarantee that getting lost like this won't happen again.
That's true, but at least I won't have to deal with freaking chasms. Anyway.
Thank you all for watching. This has been Vegas Beer 92.
And Meikumon, briefly joined by Taro.
No stream tomorrow, as per usual. And Thursday we should be back to Super Robot Wars.
For the first time in a long time, things get to explode because of robot awesomeness.
Yep. Alright, so
Please feel free to support the channel.
Be it monetarily, engagement, YouTube subscription, or just sharing us around. Every little bit helps.
That it does. And with that said, stay safe, stay comfy, stay hydrated, and be good to each other.
and we'll see you all on the next one. Peace! And if you're designing a Doom map, and you think putting in chasms and high places that involve platforming is a good idea, don't.